Okay, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, Chad Cook and Will Avery here on the line. Will, I texted you this morning after being at the Westside-Lakeside game yesterday, what I've called the best high school game of the first 30 days of the season. I texted you, and I'll tell everybody. First of all, how you doing, Will?
I'm good, man. How about you?
I'm doing great. I saw you Friday. at the Greenbrier Westside game. You went to what, Buford Saturday?
Yeah, in Buford Saturday. Yeah.
To catch Greenbrier Buford. Okay. And I went to Westside versus Lakeside, and I texted you this morning, and I'll tell everybody what I texted. I said, Kaylen Williams from Lakeside is the best ninth grader I've seen in this area since Ricky Moore, Vontigo Cummings, and Will Avery. Now, I know, let me just explain something. I know that there would be people that would say, you shouldn't say things like that about a ninth grader because he will get comfortable and then he won't work hard and he won't be good or whatever. And to that I say, that young man knows that if he doesn't work hard, he will no longer be good. So I'm not worried about that. And when you were a ninth grader and Ricky and Vontigo were ninth graders, people said a lot of nice things about you, so I don't think it's a negative to say that somebody is a very, very good basketball player, and that's what I think about this young man. You texted me back and you said, let's talk on the phone about some guard play and some thoughts that you have, I think, about area guys. So I said, let's get it on tape, so now I'm calling you. Now go. What do you want to tell me about guard?
You know, it's interesting that when you said that, I had a chance to look at the highlights and watch the kid, and I had seen Kaylen Williams last year in my middle school all-star game, and he's definitely been working. He's definitely picked right up where he left off. The thing about him that intrigues me and what I think makes him special is he's in a position to lead his team, score points, and make plays. And not only that does he do it, he does it while giving his team a chance to win basketball games. And that's the difference I see from him as a ninth grader. Like a lot of ninth graders can get on the court and play and, you know, score a lot of points for teams that they don't win a lot of games. But I saw Westside Friday night, and they looked like a really good team. And for him to do that, and I think he had also played Westside maybe a week ago, a couple of days ago, for him to come back and put his team in a position to win that game as a ninth grader, that's saying a lot to me.
You know? Yeah.
And he shoots the ball well. He gets in the lane, make plays for others. I mean, and the thing that I like most about watching the video is when there was a technical foul and how they were trying to hold him back, and he wanted to shoot those free throws. Like he wanted to be in that situation. I don't know if you find a lot of ninth graders who really want to take those shots, you know, in that situation. So this kid definitely has his head on straight, and he wants to be good. And I think if he continues to work, he has a chance to be really good. Obviously, he has to add strength, you know, get that ball up a little higher from where he shoots it. But, I mean, the best thing going right now, he's not afraid.
Yeah. You know, and to that point, Daquan Lewis, a guy who's a good player for Westside. Westside has a great starting five. I mean, they've really played well. As you saw Friday, they played every bit as well, probably better Saturday. So Daquan is a senior, and he tried to rattle Kaylen. From what I could see, he was, you know, kind of in his face a little bit, and what you would expect. And man, to your point, you know, with 26 seconds left, he sure didn't look rattled a bit when he stepped to the foul line, made those 2 free throws. And so now check this out. So Butler and Josie play Tuesday night. Richmond and Westside play Tuesday night. And I am thinking hard about making the gym I go to. Also, by the way, Laney and Glen Hills play Tuesday night. I'm thinking hard about making the gym I go to Lakeside because they play Lincoln County. Lincoln County beat Josie last night.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yes, and the kid, his name's Ahmad. I feel bad about not remembering his last name, but the 6'7" junior that they have scored 23 points, rebounded, got 18 rebounds, and blocked 15 shots. So they beat Josie. That guy does that. He's a junior. Kaylen Williams has the night he had against Westside. And so I'm thinking about, would you imagine going to Lakeside versus Lincoln County over all those matchups that I told you about?
I'm just going to call it the Kaylen Williams effect right now, because that kid, and it was crazy because last night I just got back in town and I was driving, and Frank Booker Sr. called me and told me that they was over there, and I was tired from the drive. And I almost stopped by Lakeside to watch that game. I'm kind of mad I didn't, this morning when I read your post. But no, he's definitely must not. The thing I'm interested to see with Kaylen is, once everybody knows him and he's the guy that in the scouting report, can he come out and perform after that? And
sure.
From looking, I think he can, because I think he wants that challenge, and I think this kid wants to be the best player.
Yeah, and obviously, you and I, we've been around the block, and this young man's 14. I had no idea he was only 14. So he's only 14 years old, and so we're not trying to put pressure on the young man. We're basically just saying he's a very good player and it's fun to watch. And so if he has a bad game or two, he's got 4 years to figure it all out.
He's going to go through that stretch, but the potential and, the competitiveness and the toughness that he has, really separates him. He's going to go through a bad, like you say, he's 14 years old. This is still new for him, and he's going to, I remember myself going through a tough stretch as well. It happens. It's part of, growing as a player.
Yeah. So now one of the things, you've got your finger on the pulse of all the basketball. You turned me on to Grovetown Middle School and Langford Middle School and all the teams that they play against and how entertaining that stuff can be. But the thing that you know most about, or that you know more about than me and everybody else, is the girls' basketball scene around here. And you weren't there, I was there, but you know all of these girls so much better than me. So can I get your thoughts? We haven't talked about this. And you didn't see it, so I'll give you my thoughts. Morgan County beat Laney's girls, beat them rather handily, and I would say that Laney played a very good basketball game. I mean, it was something like 79-68, and Laney, I can't think of the things that Laney did poorly that game. They played well, and they were the defending state champions, and Morgan County took it to them on Laney's home court. Tell me a little bit about Morgan County, a little bit about Laney, and some of the other things that you look for out of girls basketball in this area.
Well, first, Morgan County, I was joking. I had the honor of coaching Morgan County's point guard Alexis Brown, as well as Deja Benjamin, and Washington County with Nia Johnson. And I was joking with them, because I felt then last year around the springtime that one of the three will win the state championship next year.
Yeah.
And Deja haven't won it, so she had all the leverage in the conversation. But, and Laney has those killer bees with Benjamin, Bowman, and Bonner that are really fun to watch, and they really get after it. But Morgan County has a trio of really good guards as well, with Alexis Brown and Tatiana Davis and Sydney. They're really good as well. Not only did they go to Laney and win Friday, they came back and beat Buford on Saturday. So that was that was an unbelievable weekend, and Buford is well coached, and I seen them beat Great Atlanta Christian 2 weeks ago. It was really good, and they beat Greenbrier yesterday, and they're a really good team, and they'll be right there at the end of the season fight for a state championship. But Morgan County looks really good right now. And when you have three guards that can, handle, shoot, and make plays at the high school level, that's tough to stop. And I remember on the boys' side when Milton had those three guards with Scott Parker and the other kid that that went to Georgia Tech, when they had those 3 guards, they beat Oak Hill. And I remember talking to my high school coach, just like, it's tough when you got 3 guards. They can, they can score, pass, create. It's tough. And that's what Morgan County has. So they're going to be tough to beat. That game in Morgan County would be really interesting to watch. But, around here, Grovetown looks really good. They have athletes. They have size. They have a newcomer in Ayana Collins that's, been phenomenal. 6-foot wing, really competes, scores the ball. Obviously, the transfer of Marshall from Greenbrier over to Grovetown has definitely gave them a lift. She's been having a, really, really good year, and they've been almost busting the clock on teams from what I see. And I look at the box scores, and Quasman Ferrari inside is as tough and as good as any interior player we have on the girls' side. I mean, I say Grovetown is probably a point guard away from, really making some noise in 5A, throughout the state.
Let me ask you a question about them. So Grovetown 5A, would they face maybe like a Beaufort, or is Beaufort 5A?
Beaufort is 4A.
They're 4A. Okay. So once you get outside of our area, I won't be too familiar with those teams. But you've told me Grovetown, and then you think highly of Cross Creek as well.
Yeah, I think Cross Creek is really good, and I think I'm predicting that those 2 schools will split this year. They both win at home. What Cross Creek has is their experience. They have Nia Daniels at the point, who's crafty and can do some things. And whereas Grovetown's kind of running a point-by-committee thing right now. They have Goldsberry transfer from Westminster, but haven't settled in, yet. And I think Nia Daniels, being experienced, maybe has the advantage in that matchup. And then they have, a really, really good inside player in Elena Davis, who's gotten a lot better and, rebounds, scores. I mean, if she catches it with her, and she usually scores against fouls. She's going to be tough, and I think, that's going to be Quad's going to be able to slow her down some, but I still think that's a tough matchup, for them. And they have this other player, Kamaya Taylor, that really got it going, had about 23 the first night. So Cross Creek has some pieces too, and they've always been tough at home. So I think those 2 teams are at the top of that region. But you have some really good players throughout that region with Jasmine Robinson and Tankersley over there at Richmond. Usually I say guards can win you games at the high school level. They have 2 guards that are just as good as anybody's guards in the area. Greenbrier's been better than I thought. It's tough losing your 5 of your top 6 players, but the young players are definitely growing up, and I think they'll be a team that's going to get better throughout the season. Those guards that they have don't really have a lot of experience now, but they're gaining it, and they're going to be confident. One of the things I like about them, even, they've played a really tough schedule in facing Archer and Beaufort and Effingham and Veterans,
Veterans,
have to win the state title in their respective classes. But the kids haven't quit. They've competed all the way through. So I think that'll go a long way. When you see games like that, you kind of wonder, did we get anything out of it? But if your kids are competing and not giving up, I think you do gain something out of that that'll help them down the road.
Yeah, one of those good young players for Greenbrier shares your last name, and she was great Friday night against Westside in a win. Yasmin Avery scored 19 points, and that was great to see. Now, you mentioned Richmond and the guard play. We're going to come back around to the girls' action with specifically Richmond and Cross Creek playing in about a week. But before we get there, let's come to upcoming things. So, Westside 3-0, three wins in the last 4 or 5 days. A real exciting one Saturday. Check out their next 3 games, Will. They play Tuesday at Richmond. They play Friday home versus Laney, and they play the following Monday at Glen Hills in the Richmond County Christmas tournament in the quarterfinal round against Butler. So after starting 3-0, would you say that it's pretty fair to say that we're going to learn exactly what Westside is all about, which I think is going to be very good. But
I think you're exactly right with that. And I think if you're the coach and when you see that schedule, you're probably saying, if I can get through that stretch and be, 4-2, that'll be great. But Westside looked really good. I've always liked Trez Halls. I think he looks really good right now. They look in sync. They look in shape. The ball moves side to side. Robinson's knocking down shots. He was big again last night. But have a tough stretch coming up here. You can't overlook anybody. It's going to be very interesting. That Richmond game and that Laney game, they're going to, bring back some old rivalries. It's going to be a lot more. Going to be some pride on the line as well. And,
yes.
And when you get that, you can always, throw out the records, the expectations, and whatever. Just who's going to come to play and who's going to be the best team on that day. And those will be some really good games to see. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss the Tuesday one because I'm going to be back in Cameron watching Georgia Southern and Duke. But, I'm looking forward to your post to read about it.
Heck yeah. So Georgia Southern at Duke, that's a couple familiar faces besides all the familiar faces on the Duke side for you.
Yeah.
But so Tukey Brown from Morgan County and Aubrey McCray out of Glen Hills, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, then, and then speaking of that Christmas tournament, we have on the boys' side in the quarterfinals, we have Butler and Westside. We already said that. We on the girls' side, Richmond Academy, Cross Creek. Would you? Is my hunch right that they might have loaded up the pairings there? Would that maybe be the second and third best? Richmond County girls teams, or are there some teams I'm missing when it comes to somebody being better than Richmond?
No, I had a guy ask me to give me his preseason, top five. One of my friends, Mark Myers, asked me, and I had Richmond fifth. And the reason I had him there was because of that backcourt. I mean, Jasmine Robinson is as explosive as anybody we have in the area. She can go off for 30 points any given night. And Tanksley can play as well. The problem has been the supporting cast, after that. But still, if you have those two guards and they can control the game and they play well, you have a chance to win. Other side, you got a really good player in Elena Davis. That's, it's going to be tough for anybody throughout the state. Maybe even the country. She's proved that she can score. Against anybody.
Yeah.
And but that should be a really good game. And when I saw the Christmas tournament, I'm looking. I'm like, okay, are we gonna get that Laney Cross Creek final?
That's exactly what I want to know.
Yeah. And those would be my top two teams that I had in my preseason top five. I gave Cross Creek the edge, over Grovetown just because of Nia Daniels mainly at the point. And
right.
Just Grovetown having to fill that need, and Grovetown having the addition of so many new players and losing Naomi Hughes. I figured Cross Creek, might have the edge, but that'll be a really good one. I saw that game last year in the same tournament, and Cross Creek seemed to have control of it, and that superstar, Aaliyah Collier, just wheeled her team to victory. At night and brought Laney back, and it was an unbelievable performance in a game when she wasn't particularly, and the team wasn't particularly playing well. I think it was one of Deja Benjamin's worst game, and but Aaliyah Collier just made every play, whether it was offensive rebound, steal, whatever it was, she made the play to come back and win the game by like 2 points. She was phenomenal. Yeah.
So when speaking of things coming up this weekend, you have I didn't tell you I was going to ask you about this, but can you tell me about the tournament coming up, the middle school teams?
Yeah, it should be good. Obviously, we have Langford, who's has been on top of Richmond County Middle School basketball for quite some time, and had a lot of good players that are now doing really well at the high school level.
Pretty much, almost. It's almost you can run down like the best players in town, and so many of them have gone through Langford.
And that's crazy to say. Usually when we say that, we say high school. Now, that program is so good over there, we're going down to the middle school level. And I think that says a lot for what, Coach Lee and his staff are over there doing. And every year, when I talk to him, it's like, oh, man, it's going to be a tough year for me next year. And somehow, that kid that, wasn't that good the year before, he ends up playing a major role and really helps that team. But, they're doing a really good job. And, we hope we get Grovetown and Columbia Middle matched up with Langford and Spirit Creek.
Wow.
And we also have Burke County Middle School, who I haven't seen, but I'm hearing good things about, too. I know one thing, they always got great athletes, down there. So that should be interesting. And Glen Hills Middle and Murphy Middle and possibly Hornsby Middle as well. So we're going to have a really good field and teams with a lot of pride and really want to compete. And it's always good seeing the kids at that age really get after it. And it's also great seeing the Richmond County, Columbia County parents. Yeah.
Yes. Now, which gym will that tournament be in?
We'll be in the Old Columbia Middle, and we'll start games on Friday night, and we'll finish up throughout the day on Saturday. Should be a real good tournament.
Great. Well, I plan to be there, and I can't wait to see. Basically, you reeled off the very best middle school teams in our area just a minute ago, and there's a lot of them, and they all play well, and they bring a great crowd, and there's been nothing better than the middle school action that I've witnessed these first few months. So I can't wait, or first few weeks. So I can't wait to see that this weekend.
I want you to give me your prediction on the Richmond Westside game.
Okay,
Since I'm not going to be there. What are you thinking?
Yeah. Okay, so they're already going to be mad at me if I don't go. And so let's say, okay, I'm going to go with Richmond. By, no, I'm not going to give points, but Richmond will get them at home because, if I've heard it once, I've heard it 10 times that Richmond gave up their big lead to Laney because they hadn't been in such an atmosphere in years, basically. Really close game against a really great team with a full gym and everybody watching. And so, it was something new to them. Laney, on the other hand, has been through it countless times in the past year. And so, and that explanation makes perfect sense to me because 3 days later, I think it was, 3 days later, Richmond made all the big plays down the stretch to beat Butler. And so they've been there. Westside, I guess you could say, has been there too, but Richmond's been there 3 times already this season against great teams, twice against Butler, once against Laney. They're I assume they are like a well-oiled machine right now, so I'm going to give them the edge. Westside coming in, flying high off this win. Sometimes you get a little bit of a letdown. I doubt they'll have a letdown, but I will go with the Musketeers. What do you think? You got to go with the home team, right?
Of course, man. I know Richmond is battle-tested, having Laney and Butler, thus far. But one of the things I like about Westside the last few years, just Coach Fields somehow has been able to get the most out of the kids he has. Yeah. And I think he's going to come up with a very good game plan. And I think we go and get the win on Tuesday.
Good. I won't be surprised one bit. If they even win 2 times this week, I won't be surprised. You know what? I'll say a couple things about Westside. One is they're still real young. Trez Hawes is the only senior that I can think of. The other guys are juniors. I guess Daquan Lewis is too, but 3 of the first 5 guys are juniors. And the other thing I'd say about Westside is they are making shots. I mean, Justin Phillips, Christian Robinson, Trez Hawes, and those 3 guys are making shots. I know Daquan Lewis can make shots, so that's 4 guys that make shots. And Elijah Brown in the post is a capable scorer. So they're going to put points on the board, and they seem to be having fun. They got off to such a slow start last year when Trez was suspended for several games. And so, getting off to this good start, I'm happy to see that. Happy to see another team right in the middle of these hectic battles that we have here locally.
I really like Elijah Brown. I think he's the X factor for Westside. I watched him, and he didn't make this basket, but during that offense, during the ball reversal, he got it at the top of the key and pump fake and one dribble, and he was at the rim. You know,
Yeah.
and you can have your 4 or 5 to do that at the high school level. I think that's pretty good.
Yes, yes. Go ahead, sir.
And I was glad to see Justin Phillips play well. He's a kid I saw a couple of years ago that I thought had a lot of potential. So it was good to see him play well yesterday.
He sure did. He sure did. They've got a great team. So thanks for doing this. And I will. Maybe we'll do it more often. And anything like when it comes to like Twitter or something, do you want the folks to or your website? Tell people where to find you.
Yeah, just find me at Will Avery basketball camps for camps, clinic, and things like that. I'm on Twitter at Georgia Sting Avery. Just if you just want to talk hoops, I'm always willing. But before I get off the phone with you, Chad, I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say that Kaylen Williams tops the 30 mark this year at least 3 times.
Oh,
no pressure on you, young fella, but that's just what I think.
I agree. He was something else Saturday. So I'm taking the over on that. All right. Well, thanks, Will. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, man. Bye.